Yo, Shortbox Nation, this is Badr, and I'm here to tell you right now that con season starts early this year with the return of Northeast Florida's premier anime, comic book, and sci-fi event, Collective Con. That's right, Northeast Florida's largest pop culture convention returns for its 10th year on March 8th through the 10th at the Prime Osborne Center in Jacksonville, Florida. 10 years of Collective Con, they're pulling all the stops out to make sure this is a can't-miss event. And the guest list they got going, don't even get me started on the guest list. I mean, they've got A-list celebrity guests and voice actors from some of your favorite movies, anime, and video games like Elijah Wood and Sean Ashton, Ray Park, Trisha Helfer, Ross Marquand, Max Middleman, and Bo-Katan herself will be there, Katie Sackhoff. Tell me what other convention is giving you the opportunity to meet Frodo and Sam from Lord of the Rings, Darth Maul, and One Punch Man all under the same roof. Only at Collective Con. And if you're looking to get some of your favorite comics signed, or if you want to get an original sketch from some of the best comic artists in the world, well, you're in luck, because there'll be plenty of comic and creator guests there, like DC comic artist extraordinaire Clay Mann, Harvey Award-nominated illustrator John Taylor Christopher, Marvel and DC cover artist Chris Stevens, and acclaimed Star Wars author Timothy Zahn. They'll all be at Collective Con this year. And if you're looking to bring the family, or if you want to make a weekend out of it, you're in luck, because there'll be so much going on at Collective Con that weekend in the form of vendors, fan panels, video game tournaments, cosplay contests, after parties, and a bunch of fan events. You can purchase single and 3-day weekend passes now using the link in this episode's show notes, or by going to collectivecon.com to book your tickets and hotel. Buy your tickets now, and I'll see you at Collective Con, March 8th through the 10th. Now let's start the show. Do you think it's safe to say that this series had an influence on WandaVision show? And do you have like any examples that tie it together?
Different story, but the environment is the same. She's creating this world for herself. But like I said, everybody's on board in House of M. You know, well, in the show, we're starting to see that everyone's kind of controlled. And we're seeing that she doesn't have full control, lapses of concentration, little things that happen, because she could have put in...
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Shortbox Podcast, Season 7.
The Shortbox Podcast was recorded before a live internet audience.
If you want to leave this in, you can, but I'm going to tell you a story. Sarah has a camera in our living room that she just set up to check up on Rufio. Because when she goes to work, she likes looking at our cat. Our cat's name is Rufio.
Sleeping.
Yeah, exactly. But
sleeping again.
When I'm off every other Monday, I'm home. So she'll like check up on me, right?
Oh, no.
So I told this story
Check the bathroom.
Right. My sister-in-law, and she's like, what do you think? Like, he's going to put his butt on the camera? And I was like, what? Is that what you think? Is that what you think the worst thing a guy could do while on camera? That is adorable. Like, it's like,
that's innocent.
Watch out.
That's the warm-up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, watch out. He might put his butt on it. And then my sister-in-law, she was over for dinner last night. She's like, I fucking hate you so much because I won't let her live it down. Like, every time she comes over, I'm like, yeah, I've been doing some real debaucherous things lately. Yeah. I've been putting my butt on stuff. Yeah. She's like, no, I want to leave. I don't want to be here anymore.
Oh, man. That's good.
But,
all right. You guys ready to reintroduce ourselves?
Yeah.
Hit it. Yo, Shortbox Nation. Welcome to episode 313. Returning listeners, welcome back. And new friends and first timers, we're happy to have you. My name is Badr, and I'll be your host for this episode. Here at the Shortbox, we specialize in a few things, and that's talking about comics, recommending comics, and interviewing the best creators in comics. Today we'll be doing a lot of the first two. Carrying on with the theme of last week's episode, we'll be taking a look at another comic series that inspired the much talked about WandaVision show. We'll be spotlighting the 2005 Marvel Comics event, House of M.
House of Little Pony. What? We're not doing that?
Nah, okay. That's next week's show. Sorry. You got your schedules mixed up. But before we get into that, I'd like to introduce my panel of talented, sarcastic, and lively co-hosts here with me in the Shortbox studio today. Starting with my right-hand man and the funny bone of this here show, Cesar Cordero.
Don't ever refer to me as that again.
Funny bone.
Funny bone of this show? I will murder you. I did not approve that. I just saw that just now. Like, I looked and I said, funny bone of this show. I couldn't stop even saying it either. Funny bone.
Next up on the mic is your favorite artist, Mr. Edmund Dan's Arts and Building.
Yo.
And last but not least, on the fourth mic is the first lady of the short box, Miss Ashley Laney Hoy.
Wow.
Hi.
Yo,
What the fuck?
I'm
Ashley gets a
artist,
normal
too.
fucking one, and then you make.
honestly, I do a lot more work on Ashley's.
you
titles.
don't have to. You just
always-
have to be respectful.
I got this.
That's work.
Well, for starters, I feel like
Guys, I
I'm
do a
highly
lot-
respectful whenever
Guys, I do a
introduce
lot of
Ashley.
work. I actually make a nice compliment to Ashley. It's a lot of work.
I have a feeling when we hit the 400,
real funny bone, butter.
I have a feeling when we hit the 400th, we'll be a really well-oiled
If I'm
machine by
here,
then.
I'm not going to be fucking here.
Ooh, nice. I like you building suspense. You know, I like it.
What of our friendship? Butter's like, yeah, it's good for the show.
It's already
Yeah.
on the rocks.
Oh, yeah. We were there
Hey,
for
you
that.
leave behind the scenes.
Hold on, hold on.
Out of this.
What they're referring to is Butter be basically not paying attention to the outline and saying, "What the fuck? Who said we were going to do House of M today?" And Butter's like, "It's literally on."
And it's in the group.
But yeah, Butter's like, "Yeah,
Everyone
I'm airing
sees
out this dirty laundry in front of everyone." I'm like, "What the fuck, man?" And Butter's like, "It's literally been the sub like." On the outline for like 3 months now that we were going to do House of M. And I'm like, bullshit, Butter. And I go to check it. And I'm like, I was wrong.
I was like,
I
yeah,
was
the
wrong.
tone changed at the end. I was like,
I was like,
this is
Ed sitting here like, yeah. When you look at shrug emojis,
I was like, yeah, I'm
Like,
I'm like,
okay.
I was like, I guess we're not recorded Sunday.
What did I say
then all
about
it worked
keeping
out.
the happy family?
Guys,
People want to know.
No, we
People
are a
deserve to
family.
know.
It's a
Okay.
dysfunctional one.
Yes,
Yeah.
just like everyone else.
That's right.
All right. Well, look, before we get into the main event, I'd like to spotlight our supporters who play a major role in helping us keep the lights on. Starting with the comic shop and a proud sponsor of this here show, Gotham City Limit, Jacksonville's premier place for comics, toys, collectibles, and more. If you live in the area or ever find yourself passing through Jacksonville, stop by the shop on Southside Boulevard and tell them the Short Box sent you. All right, now that we've looked out for our sponsors and people who make the show possible, let's look out for our immediate listeners. For those of you unfamiliar with the House of M storyline, you can find all of these issues pretty easily available, whether that be physical copies or trade in comic shops, online retailers. And of course, the Marvel Unlimited app has all these issues available to read. So consider this your official spoiler warning, because going forward, we'll be talking about important plot points. So if you don't want this old ass comic ruined for you, either pause and come back or skip to one of the other timestamps in this episode. Cesar, do you mind helping set the stage for the listeners and give them the big picture details and background for House of M?
I do mind. I'm not saying any of that shit.
Okay. So Ashley, what did you
So speaking of unrest in the House of Shortbox, let's talk about unrest in the House of M for a change, right? So House of M is a comic book storyline published by Marvel in 2005, and it was written by, of course, Brian Michael Bendis and illustrated by Olivier Coipel, inked by Tim Townsend, and colored by Frank de Armada. This storyline consists of 8 core issues with several tie-ins. They did one for Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, and a few others. And it tied into a couple ongoing series like X-Men and Wolverine. House of M also served as a follow-up to the events of Planet X and a 2004 storyline that ran into New X-Men under our resident magician, Grant Morrison. He did the storyline. So if you like his stuff, you can check that out. And followed up with Avengers Disassembled, the 2004 storyline that kicked off, of course, Brian Michael Bendis' long-running tenure on the Avengers. And if you didn't think they stretched that guy out thin enough, later on they would stretch him out even further. He's also doing duty on Daredevil at the time. So definitely talented, but this is more or less a story we get where Brian Michael Bendis is pre-Marvel stretching him out. So not that any of that shit's bad. It's just that at this story arc is actually, I think, a good example of Brian Michael Bendis' sort of a concentrated story with multiple characters from the entire MCU. And it gets in, it gets out, boom, we're done, right? So House of M tells a story of how the Scarlet Witch used her powers to create a world in which mutants are in charge. And she did this by rewriting reality and the memories of all our heroes, right? So through their own discoveries, the Avengers, the X-Men, and other, miscellaneous heroes unite to confront their former friend, their former teammate to basically reverse the spell. And it ultimately ends with adverse effects, to say the least. So the population of the world's mutants basically being the casualty of this comic book. It ends with more or less Wanda saying, hey, I'm done. No more fucking mutants, right?
And the crazy thing, it's not just that they're gone. They still are here, but the powers are gone.
Right.
So the people are still there.
Right.
Like, so that's even crazier.
She took the one thing that made them, fucking special.
Well, that's the cool thing about this is that was like Quesada's like plan behind all of this was that it had just gotten out of control with all the mutants, right? Like so many freaking mutants.
It's this cyclical thing in comics where they build this world too big to contain.
Right.
They try to simplify it, and then it just repeats over and over and over again.
Right. So, the idea being that, okay, let's fucking just take everything back down to a manageable...
Back to basics. Yeah. Streamline things.
Exactly.
And blow it back up.
A manageable amount of characters that we can tell decent stories with and just deal with that. And I think this was sort of an artistic way to do it. I mean,
Was this anyone's first time reading this? Was anyone collecting these issues as they were coming out at the time?
This was during my sabbatical, just like with the Young Avengers. So I knew about it because, like I said, a lot of people I know liked it, and I knew kind of the gist of it. But this is my first time sitting down and reading it.
Yo, this is Badr. Sorry for interrupting this episode, but I'll keep it brief. I wanted to let you know about a massive sale we have going on over at the Shortbox store on all of our merchandise and apparel. That's theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com. You can now save 20% off your entire order using the discount code YOO, Y-O-O. So if you've been waiting for the right time to finally buy that gauntlet snapback, or if you ever wanted to buy any of the shirts you see me wear on the podcast, well, now's your chance to get them for a steal. We still have a few sizes left of everything, but they won't last long, and once they're gone, they are gone. And then I mentioned that all of our apparel is screen printed on high quality material. None of that heat transfer or direct to garment stuff. Our shirts are some of the most comfortable ones you'll ever wear, and the hats look even better in person. So wear your support for the Shortbox Nation proudly, knowing that you're going to look damn good doing it. Get to theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com as soon as you can, and don't forget to use that discount code YOO, Y-O-O, to save 20% off your entire order. All of this information can be found in this episode's show notes if you want to get there faster. Thanks for not pressing fast forward. Now back to the show. Okay. Ashley, this was I'm assuming your first time as well?
Yeah. This was the same year as Young Avengers, right? Or around there? Close.
Yeah, right around.
Yeah, I wasn't reading new comics at that time. But yeah, I'm glad I read it. I liked it.
Which one respected your time more? Ooh. Young Avengers or House of M?
I would say I enjoyed House of M a lot.
Hell yeah.
Like for somebody that like on a Saturday night just enjoys like reading comics, like I really, really like this book. Young Avengers, I would say listen to our podcast on Young Avengers.
Oh, Ashley was
the
plug in the show.
Maybe read the Jamie McKelvey, Kieran Gillen Young Avengers from later. Because that one just really didn't do anything for me.
Badr, you're fired.
But I like this one a lot.
You assigned this.
You did nothing.
You
did nothing.
You upset Ashley this last episode.
Ashley fucking came gunning for your job.
Clearly upset right now.
You waited until season 7 to do this.
It's a calm fury, I sense. I'm right next to you. It's like,
Et tu, hoy?
Et tu.
See, what was your familiarity with the creative team? What's your general opinion on Bendis and how'd you say it?
Olivier Coipel.
Olivier Coipel.
How did you pronounce
He's a brother.
so well?
He's a brother from France, like Alexander.
well.
Alexander.
Don't
Dumas.
ask what I thought he was prior to see.
Yeah, Badr was like,
Yeah, what's his name? Oliver Copule. What the fuck? Something like that.
For some reason, you're from Florida, but I gave you that.
It's fine. It's fine.
Shitty ass Brooklyn accent.
Yeah, I go through transformations.
He's like Ellis Island making fun of everyone's names.
What was
Oliver. What kind of name is Oliver?
What was your familiarity with the creative team?
I mean, it's funny. I didn't read this book when it came out because I kind of had Marvel fatigue even then. Like back in the day, I was like, God damn it, everything's an event, man. And it was around the time Marvel was really shoving fucking events down our throats hard. So I was like, no, I don't want to read House of M. I don't give a shit. And then, then I read Thor. And Olivier's work in that is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, this same guy. Wait, he does the whole House of M? Like he doesn't just do covers? It's like all of it? Oh man, I'm going to read this. And Bendis has never really let me down. So I read it probably about a year or two after, I basically was resolute in my anti-Marvelness. And I say that I always keep coming back like a fucking person in an abused relationship.
I definitely
I look at Marvel.
I definitely don't help. Yeah, see, look what I bought.
I'm like looking at Marvel like, you don't understand. He loves me. I don't. It was my fault.
I wasn't paying the $3.99 on a regular basis.
Right. Meanwhile, I've got the Marvel app and I'm shelling out for a Lady Deadpool figure. So the idea is that I wanted to basically, like every old comic book head, you don't really follow characters. That's a rookie move. You follow your favorite artists and your favorite writers, and then you just more or less are attracted to that. So once I more or less figured out that Bendis and Coipel were on this job, I was like, fuck, I gotta read it. God damn it. So I read it, and man, no regrets. It's freaking gnarly. It's pretty gnarly.
I think I gotta give Esad Ribic his flowers too, because he does all the covers for all the issues.
Sure.
This was one of the standout Marvel events for other than the story, the art, and all that, but the branding too. I got to give them props on the branding. I mean, from the title logo, I thought having Esad Ribic do anytime he does covers, I feel like you kind of get your point across that this is a big kind of event.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever realized that Magneto's helmet does make a M shape. And I never realized it. Like, I'm like, shit. That's the brilliance of Jack Kirby, is that he made an M.
Yep.
Like, I'm looking at whoever designed Apocalypse's belt and just decided, I'll just put a fucking A there. Like, no, take notes, son.
Put an S on the chest? That's too obvious.
That's too obvious.
No.
It's too obvious.
This was also around the same time that I was like first, like, I've had my first pull list. Like, I was transitioning away from just buying back issues or reading just essentials. Like, I was actually going to a comic shop. I had a pull, and I was reading Exiles, and they were doing the House of M like tie-in, which was a little confusing. And I didn't read House of M until much later, like until like I met Drew, and he was like, "Look, if you haven't read House of M, man, it's like a must." I think that's one of his favorite series.
That's no, for sure. I remember Drew talking about that, and this is almost along the time I first met you, I think.
Yeah.
Around this time period.
Yeah, because I feel like this was almost like a second wind for Marvel in a way, because the story and how much attention it was getting. I think at the time, like, Brian Michael Bendis was hinting at, hey, this is going to have some some long lasting impacts into Marvel. He was like really tight lipped about it.
He has family down here.
Let's find him.
Oh my God.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
So somebody
really cool.
said that they saw him. You guys know Rob Jones?
Yeah.
He said that he saw like Brian Michael Bendis like riding his bicycle down 3rd Street on the beach. And he came into like a comic book store and he was just like, yeah. Rob was like, that's fucking Brian Michael Bendis. And he's like, yeah, I got some family down here just visiting.
So can we get like his cousin or whoever lives here for an interview?
Probably not. No.
It's like our next interview, Brian Michael Bendis's grandma.
We getting there. Give us 2 more episodes.
We've made it.
Actually, what were some things in here that made you a fan of it? It sounds like this one really kind of resonated with you.
It was just a really good storyline. Like, it really was a page turner. I was planning on reading like a few issues last night and finishing it this morning, but I couldn't stop reading it. I think I'm glad I read it in trade. It would have bugged me having to like wait for all 8 issues to come out of this. And the art was it was amazing.
It's fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, again, a gnarly story, but it's still fun to look at. And
and just he would pack like tons of figures into like one panel.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just, the way he did that it's really cool to see.
I think Bendis and I'll even say Coipel also shine extremely well when they're on these big events. Like, Bendis, to me, is a fantastic, is a really good team writer. I mean, granted, like in his later years, you can kind of point out like his style and his trope got a little played out, but these early like events and early Bendis years, like I thought he had a great grasp. It's just like, if you gave him a toy, like he's essentially playing like a giant toy box of your favorite characters, and he always had like a really cool concept in mind. And Coppell, like,
yeah,
he does not slouch.
If you like Frank Quietly or Jim Lee, like Olivier's work is more or less like a mixture of both those dudes, right? Like he kind of tends to draw people a little wider than normal, the way Frank Quietly does, and he's got sort of like the clean sort of like line work and cross hatching the way Jim Lee would shade something. Like it's pretty cool, man. I mean, he's definitely has a addictive style.
See, I have a question for you.
Oh.
But first, you know what time it is,
don't
baby.
you fucking do it.
Nah, baby. We're going to toss the commercial break.
You son of a bitch.
We got some words to share about our sponsor, Gotham City Limit. We'll be right back.
I hate you.
Hey, Shortbox Nation. Sorry for the interruption, but we want to talk about one of our favorite comic shops that happens to be a proud sponsor of this here podcast.
You talking about Gotham City Limits?
Whoa, Batman, what are you doing here?
It's just me, Badr at sea. I've got laryngitis, but you know what doesn't have laryngitis? Jacksonville's premier location for comic books, collectibles, toys, and more.
Oh, and don't forget, pool customers get 10% off their comics.
Shut up, I'm talking now, punk. Gotham City Limits offers free bags and boards.
And 20% off trades and hardcovers.
I don't need a Robin for this ad spot.
But Batman, you're forgetting about the most important part about Gotham City Limit. It's a comic shop welcome to everyone, for the diehard collectors and the new fans.
I told you I'm not Batman, but have Alfred get the car ready. I'm rich, so it's on me. We're going to Gotham City Limits to spend some money on comics.
So you had mentioned in the beginning that there was some there was quite a few spin-off series from this. I think there was like a House of M Fantastic Four series, a House of M Spider-Man, like a bunch of series that kind of went into deeper story arcs that pertain to this world. Were you collecting any of the other spin-offs? Like, are there any notable ones that you'd recommend, like worth collecting or reading?
I will tell you this: no interest in any of those spin-offs. And let me say this also, for the record, at the time. That may be kind of an unfair judgment call, but at the time, I was tired of Marvel. Like, I was really tired of Marvel. Like, and not like I don't like them anymore. I'm tired of them. Like, it's like, Jesus, man, I don't got money, man. I'm not made of it. Like, I want to keep up. I want to follow these characters. And it looks like around the time Marvel puts out that book where it's like, here are all the young badass artists that we have working for us now. I forgot what it's called.
The Young Guns, right?
Yeah, that's it. Olivier's work was in there, and it was like, hey, he's one of the new members of the team, and they had a few other people in there, and it was just like, damn it, man, like I can't do it. So all the other spinoffs was just more money I had to spend, and I was already fatigued. That said, I may revisit some of the other tie-ins, like the Spider. I know Drew really likes the Spider-Man one, the House of M Spider-Man story. Spider-Man with that crazy ass alien ant farm haircut he had, where he had like the fucking part shaved into the side of his head, like he had like a few minority friends tell him like, "Yo, man, that's a sweet ass dude." You know, he was getting his haircut, on the Lower East Side. So I was like, okay, all right. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of my take on that, man. I mean, it may not be fair, but it's what it's the truth. True to me, yeah.
So I think it's safe to say this was at a time before it became. It was still manageable. Like, you didn't have to buy like any of the spinoffs to get the main story. Like, you got 8 issues of the core story, and it did its job.
Right.
I think this was one of those, because this was an early series before Marvel really started to like. Every freaking year was a different event, and 100 different tie-ins. This was one of the last ones before it became unmanageable. Opinion.
I was also already a big fan of Bendis's run on Avengers and New Avengers, right? Like, all that stuff was like, oh my gosh, it's so good, but I don't have time.
Yeah, I will say the Spider-Man spinoff goes into a little more detail about his life, because in this in House of M, everyone's kind of granted their heart's desires, and of course his is being married to Gwen Stacy, having a kid. Uncle Ben is still alive, so that was a fun little 5-issue miniseries that went more into his life. You don't really get to see too much of that in this main core story, but that spinoff was written by Mark Waid and art by Salvador Larroca. It is one that I did read and really enjoyed. But speaking about the 8 core issues that make up House of M, Ed, was there a standout issue for you, or like a standout moment?
Just some of there was a lot of great moments in this series. I remember talking about the Young Avengers where like the talking heads issues I had, but even in that, I think it's the first issue where everybody's in a room talking for like almost half the book, and he makes it interesting. Whereas if you see something like that on film or like on TV, you can get away with just having a bunch of people in a room talking because of the performances, but as like a visual medium with no audio, he made that not just talking head, just like cut and paste talking heads for page after page. He changed the angles. He made that whole, when they're deciding to, okay, we have to, kill the Scarlet Witch.
Right.
But
Dude, talk about a conversation.
It's a conversation, and it's like, but, instead of just like cut and paste, which a lot of comics were like at the time, and he didn't do it where it disoriented you. Like, he didn't do like weird angles for the sake of weird angles. He just the placement of all of those characters, those like what dozen or so characters trying to come to this conclusion. That's such a hard thing to make interesting over several pages. And I do like, since I haven't read it, I do like all the images of like the kind of like the pixelation where it's like the snap. It's like that reminded me of the snap.
Yeah, Badr and I were talking about that before the show. Like the way they draw people, like kind of disassembling.
Yeah, they're
it's
like almost like pixelated. And
yeah,
little blocks
like little
out.
Tetris blocks.
Yeah.
Like 3-dimensional Tetris blocks.
I really love because like I said, I like his work. Something about it's kind of like how Frank quietly is with some people. There's something just a little odd about the way he, draws people. That's kind of something
the same way that
off.
you feel how off it is when you see like Chris Bachalo's work.
Yeah.
Like you're like, okay, you're an artist.
Yeah.
Like you don't give a shit about anatomy. Like you're trying to fucking say something.
It's something where it just didn't, I don't want to say it bothered me, but it was just kind of threw me off a little. Because his work is excellent, but his like cityscapes, like seeing Genosha destroyed,
right?
Like seeing like the costuming in this. I know this is gonna sound weird, but the actual costume design, where you see the gala with Magneto and that
big time.
Sweet outfit. But Polaris's belly dancing outfit was kind of weird. But there's that regal.
It's a tie back to their roots, right? Like Magneto and his, I guess his love at the time, they were both. She was in a concentration camp because she was a gypsy. He was in because he was a Jew, right? So their mother is a gypsy. So their influence, their royal garb has that look, like that they have like the Romana gypsy look. It's fucking beautiful.
And then like the I guess it's the shield or whatever it's called in this world. The
Brotherhood, essentially.
Yeah, and then that, and then even the cool Magneto-inspired Sentinels.
Right.
So awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just like I loved like just the aesthetic of the book, like all the costumes, like because I love multiverse stories. I've always said I like multiverse, and this is essentially a multiverse story, but taking place in the 616.
It almost feels like a successor to Age of Apocalypse in a different way, where like Age of Apocalypse took the X-Men,
it's like you got to put a fresh coat of paint on all these characters but this succeeds more, I think, than Age of Apocalypse did.
Damn.
And but like I said, I just love the look of this world. It's really
you think
really cool.
you know why I think it was more successful is because it impacted more of the Marvel universe at the time.
There's consequences,
dude. I'm gonna say this. I think it's well written. I think it's a better written story than AOA.
Yeah,
I would definitely give you that.
AOA has the visuals and the coolness.
Exactly.
Like, you're like, fuck, that Sunfire outfit's so awesome, and like
the Joe
Magneto's got
designs.
the braids, and you're like, shit, that's sweet. Like everything, it's all flash.
Good point.
Not no substance, but not as much substance as
that was like a purely visual joyride,
right?
Right.
I feel like with AOA, there wasn't one central story to hone in on.
Ed nailed it. Like AOA feels like a joyride. Like you fucking boosted a car, you stole it, you ran away. Like look at this. You got to play in this universe for a little bit, and then you're out. Like this is not a joyride.
No.
Like it's like
definitely
you're
not.
being dragged kicking and screaming into this world, and you're at first, and then you're like, shit. Okay,
it doesn't let up on the emotional.
It's a Twilight Zone episode.
Exactly.
I mean, down to when fucking Wanda makes Magneto's mouth go away.
Yeah.
Straight reference
I have no
to the Twilight
mouth and I'm a
Zone.
scream.
Right. Like she's like, don't you make me send you to the cornfield? Like I'll fucking make your ass disappear.
The cool thing I like too is when we start seeing how, like, when this is a mutant ruled world, and we get to see like, oh, Wonder Man's a celebrity, Dazzler's like a TV host. But one of the things that really struck me was seeing Kitty Pryde as just a teacher, like a honorable job, but not everybody had these grandiose dreams.
Sure.
Like, he just wanted to be normal.
Shit, Steve Rogers
in retirement. Old ass man.
Steve Rogers, that was really cool. They just go there. It's like, he's an old dude. Ain't gonna help us.
I was telling Badr about this earlier, where we were more or less like, you look at people like S.H.I.E.L.D. is more or less become a jackbooted version of the Brotherhood of Mutants, right? And you look at the roster, right? You're like, Rogue, okay, that makes sense. She originally was a Brotherhood, right? Mm-hmm. But Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler being there is so something I'd never thought of, and it's something that basically Bendis is a good writer for, because you look at Nightcrawler's origin story and how Professor X saved him from a mob of people that tried to kill him. He was a beer and a back rub away from being a part of the Brotherhood of Mutants.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for sure.
If Magneto grabbed him.
And exactly. So like and Logan being the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., quote unquote, is another tragic case of somebody that if Xavier wasn't there to be like, let me help you work through these issues. Let me help you fucking transcend yourself. He wouldn't be the person he is. And that's why, you'd see like Logan waking up as the fucking head of S.H.I.E.L.D., quote unquote. It's really the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Like, what was your dream? And he's like, I think I wanted to be Nick Fury.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to be Nick Fury.
Speaking of which, my two favorite issues in this whole 8-issue arc was issue 3, the one where it's Logan waking up, realizing what the world was prior to this event, and he's it's a good storytelling tactic, to have like the one guy that realizes everything's a sham, and he's trying to piece the clues together. I thought it was an interesting choice to use Logan, someone who prior to this has been shrouded in mystery, doesn't know his prior life and his past, but he's the one that's got all the answers, right? I thought that was a pretty good. I thought that was a good issue to kind of like get the readers back on board. And issue 8, the last issue, only because this is it was right after they had the big fight. Scarlet Witch says that infamous no more mutants. Issue 8 was more. It almost felt like. How now Marvel do like the big event and then they'll do like the one shot or the little mini series afterwards, kind of talking about
epilogue.
Thank you so much.
Issue 0.
I felt like issue 8 was a smart way of using the epilogue issue, incorporating into its main story, and it felt so much different than the events we get now, where the way it's. I feel like Marvel events end very kind of clumsy. Like them landing or sticking the landing is usually kind of questionable. But this is one of the I won't say only, but it's one of the key events that I think about when I think like perfect from beginning on through. Like they stuck the landing because it just didn't feel the same. Dude, it felt it was like tragic, man. This whole story to me was really tragic.
Because they had a specific goal with this story. Like they knew what they wanted to do. They wanted to bring the Marvel Universe back to a smaller place. And how do they do that? With the story. This actually had a practical purpose, which is probably why you felt like, I got closure, right? Whereas every other event is more or less like how the fuck are we going to deliver a blockbuster movie in the comic book world
this opens
every
the
summer
door for other events.
Big time. And thank you so much, Steve. I think you nailed it. This is why I like this so
Ed
much.
Nailed it, but
both of you. Thank you both of you so much.
Both nailed it. High five.
The practicality of it and going in with a mission. I'm not saying that they don't have a mission or a purpose nowadays, but I felt like this one was so clear. And because I lived, I think, through it when I was like really buying new comics and seeing like
this is old school Badr buying comics. This is Badr not ashamed of the Widow Peak wearing Jay Dilla shirts and wearing glasses Badr. This is like fucking high five Badr for the first time Badr.
4XL shirts, polos, and all of that Badr.
Good.
But the things that came out of this, like
Drizzy Drake,
like where they said like House of M, led into, I think what followed after this was like decimation. So in the X-Men editorial team, in the X-Men line of comic books, they were dealing with this. Like Magneto, Quicksilver, and Wanda were nowhere to be found. They were like the number one enemy in the mutant, in the mutant world.
And it basically caused humanity even be more anti-mutant.
Right. Because they had a one-up.
This is God's will. Mutants weren't supposed to be here in the first place. Let's round them up now.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, we get decimation, divided we stand, Messiah
and
complex.
Professor X is still missing.
Exactly. So I mean, this like just was such a good springboard into other really good. Not only events, but like comics that were coming out from Marvel at the time. Like, I think Brian Michael Bendis continues to the next big event is like Civil War, which still like was influenced by this. That led into Brian Michael Bendis taking the reins again for like Secret Invasion, Siege, AVX. Like this, like there
Civil
is
War,
exactly
Civil War,
like there's pieces of this that continue on into the bigger events for a lot of years.
If a director delivers on a constantly like Michael Bay every summer with the fucking blockbuster, you're not going to say you're fired. You know, Bendis is, as good as he is, Marvel did stretch him out pretty
for sure,
thin,
for sure.
know?
They had
we
him.
finally found out what the Scarlet Witch can actually do.
Dude, well said.
Yeah,
very well said.
She is apparently the
It's
little
like before,
boy
it's like, I got hex powers. Oh, they're not working. Ultron punches her in the face.
Yeah, oh god.
It's like, what do you do exactly? Except glow red and look awesome in that red outfit.
Right.
This story definitely treats her like the linchpin for a lot of, for like a good 10-year stretch. Like the events
She's like
of,
what
of
they
this
call like
issue.
what, an Omega mutant? Or
Omega
something?
level mutant,
Omega level
yeah.
mutants. Yeah.
Yeah. Ashley, what was your maybe like favorite iteration of a Marvel character in this series? Because we got to see like a lot of, like Ed was kind of pointing out, like a lot of characters take on a different role or whatnot. Did you have like a favorite character that resonated with you?
So going through this, like I had no idea what I was getting into with all these characters. Like I haven't read a lot of, like I have read some Wolverine, so it was just really, I liked reading Wolverine. I always liked Nightcrawler. He wasn't a big part of this book. I can't remember. Cool. Yeah, he just looks cool. Ever reading anything where like Quicksilver was a big part of it.
Oh shit.
I think just seeing like the Magneto like Quicksilver scenes that were like so dramatic, where he's just like
Father
falling.
of the Year.
Yeah, he's like falling to his knees, like help me save my sister.
Like, what would you expect? What would you have me do, Pietro?
Yeah.
It just added more than like the cool guy, running around the room in the movies. Yeah. It just added another dimension.
And
to
when
him.
everybody, because then basically it's like everyone automatically fucking Magneto.
Yeah,
everyone was like, soon as Emma Frost like wakes up, it's like. Fucking Magneto!
Yeah,
let's get him, boys!
Yeah, get him! Get him! Get him!
I was telling I think this is maybe my second or third, probably second for sure, but maybe third time reading it, and I forgot Pietro was a big reason
Caused
why.
It?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
convinced his
it
sister.
wasn't Magneto. Like Magneto was very. They
Well, Wanda was even like, this has to be the way. I can't control my powers. This is the best solution. I'm ready. I'm ready to.
Yep.
And then he convinces her. Yeah.
I mean, I felt like there was not much happiness to be found in this book from the beginning. I mean,
Wanda and Pietro were OG members of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Even when like the resolution happens, there's a whole nother level of sadness because like my favorite reaction was Peter's reaction. Spider-Man, because it's like he had his ideal life. MJ was a superstar. He comes back to Doctor Strange. Is like, get this out of my head.
Yeah.
It's like magic doesn't work like that way. And he's like smashing the table.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like he's
not happy regardless.
He already has like a guilt from Uncle Ben. He already lives with all this torture, all this guilt and responsibility. And then now he has another world, another reality of weighing him down too. Like, this is my life. I was happy. You snapped me out of my happy ideal life, you know?
That's something Badr and I were talking about too. Like before the show, we were like, dude, I mean, Spider-Man's got a tender place, and I think it's safe to say both our hearts. And the fact that Peter's life is so fucked up, that even when he's in an alternate dimension, the life that he was in before somehow follows him and says, "Hey, I don't know if you remember this, but you're Spider-Man.
Yeah, you let your uncle die. You killed your love of your life." It's like, fuck me.
But like just that whole like. By the way, I'm sorry to do this. Bam, and then all that's it's like a splash page of everything that happened to him as Spider-Man, like his marriage, meeting like MJ, and like all the shit that happened with Gwen, Uncle Ben dying. Like it's a beautiful piece of artwork too. I'd almost want it as a poster because it's fucking cool looking. But then to have the next realization is like, Logan, is this real? Like what do we do? And he's just like, it's like, sorry, kid, it is real. And then the funniest thing is like, and what Ed said is where he's like, even Peter Parker, who's kind of like the heart of the Marvel universe. You know, he's got like, you know, hey, I'll make jokes. Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna fucking kill Magneto.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh shit.
And he was the one that was one of the vocal. Him and like Captain America's like, what are we gonna kill? Oh, is she a dog? We're gonna put her down,
right?
You know, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
I was
and
just
then at the end, kill, fucking kill her.
I will say, Bendis wasn't afraid to introduce some difficult conversations in this.
Wolverine essentially was like, get in line.
Yeah, that's the line, Bob.
Like even, I mean,
number.
And such a, and I mean, even I probably got to highlight that first issue being just fantastic. I mean, it is a lot of talking. Ed, to your point, it is 99% just talking, but I love the convo because there's no.
They tackle so much.
Yeah,
it's a hard conversation.
Yeah, it's not.
There doesn't seem
interesting.
To be. Yeah,
well
very
said.
difficult.
Because even
they're like, look, we have to. Can we kill not just anyone but a teammate,
an Avenger, an X-Man,
right? And also and look, this is some interesting stuff because the mutants are look, X-Men and mutants can be metaphors for any sort of marginalized people group, right? Yeah. Regardless of where they stand. But it's very, I don't know, I feel very personal reading it whenever they're like, look, we have tried our hardest to build human mutant relationships. And this will undermine everything that we have done. And they're going to come after us. And I don't want, like Emma Frost says that. She's like, I don't want that, you know, like this is not a good look. And they're like, what do we do then, you know?
I'm telling you, man, the how depressing is it when even Charles Xavier is telling Magneto like, I can't save your daughter.
Yeah, it's like you have
I cannot
between Charles Xavier and Emma Frost
and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is trying to help.
They can't do anything.
Yeah,
you know
that's fucked.
And what's great is, man, I felt like, and Ashley, maybe you could back me up. Like you can enjoy this reading it solo. Like you hadn't read Avengers Disassembled, which is a big kind of component to leading up to this.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
like a direct
it
fucking.
Can be a standalone.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, were you lost at all? Like, did you ever feel like lost or like I don't really know why Wanda is, you know, the crux of all this?
No, I read this first and then I liked it so much I just read like a little summary of Avengers Disassembled and I was like, this sounds crazy.
Oh, it is
like,
so
I want to read
crazy.
this now.
Ed, do you think it's safe to say that this series had an influence on the WandaVision show, and do you have like any examples that tie it together?
I mean, without seeing this whole show beginning to end, it's still in progress. The power, like I said, just kind of this reality altering power. That's kind of the connection I see because it's a totally different story, but the environment is the same. She's creating this world for herself, but like I said, everybody's on board in House of M, you know. Well, in the show, we're starting to see that everyone's kind of controlled. And we're seeing that she doesn't have full control, lapses of concentration, little things that happen. Because she could have put in, and it doesn't really, at least I didn't really get how Logan and the one girl.
Oh, Layla Miller.
Layla.
She's a weird MacGuffin.
A MacGuffin, yeah. It's like, we put this, but she, unlike some Brian Bendis characters, she stays a character in the universe. Yeah. She doesn't just, my home planet needs me, I gotta go, like Poochie, The Simpsons.
Right. Poochie.
That's awesome. So she actually stays a character. So she does, like, I think it was Ulysses in the Civil War II, where he's just, I'm gonna go with the Celestials now. Yeah. Never see him again, you know? So it's
she shows up in Peter David's X Factor run.
Yeah, exactly, because she actually becomes a character. But like I said, just the reality warping thing, and she's putting stuff in. But I think, like in House of M, she kind of can see most of what's going on. You know, it's the only thing without seeing the whole show, you know, and the whole book, and seeing what other characters they bring into the show. It's like it's hard for me to say. Just the only thing I'm seeing the connection to is the actual her ability to change her reality. I
like what you said, and I'll add to it too. I think what both House of M and WandaVision are doing exceptionally well at is visually showing her reality warping powers. Like you hear reality warping powers, it's like, what the fuck does that mean? Yeah. Like, how do you show that? And the only way you do that in the comics is to literally change everything. Like new designs, new characters, new world. And that's like what we're seeing in WandaVision. It's like this world that she's created, and there, you know,
but her like multiverses are like sitcom.
Exactly.
So, and it's a show which multiverses are other shows, you know, rather than other comic book worlds.
The idea that they chose Wanda is interesting because you have her background. I mean, I would say this is more or less a testament to Jack Kirby, and the fact that what he has done is still echoing here even in the present, like in 2005 and 2004, of course, still. But the idea that you have the ideas that he set up were like start out as a villain, right? And what did Marvel eventually do? They made her an Avenger, but she's got roots in villainy. And they, like most Marvel characters, she's human and she's complex. And on top of that, they took a vague ability that everyone confused the fuck out of everyone reading comics, like hex powers. What the fuck? Does she use magic like Strange, or is she a mutant and it's a natural occurring power that has something to do with, something rooted in the natural world, not supernatural? Well, apparently, it's both. And not only is it both, we're going to treat this shit like the fucking Twilight Zone. Like, if you read this comic, you might as well expect Rod Serling to step out of the corner and be like, submitted for your approval, one Wanda Maximoff, who thought she was in charge and had a tangible appearance on her life, now finds herself buying a ticket directly into the Twilight Zone. So the idea that now you have, she's a well-written character. I think that's something that wasn't always there, but now is, right? And now that you have the show WandaVision, it's like, ooh, let's take the seeds that we sowed in this story, right? Because I don't think anybody fucked with this sort of stuff before, except for, the weird, her kids are like shards of a demon that exists in the Marvel universe somehow. And they started, reality, whatever. Yeah. But like straight up a Twilight Zone reference where like she makes Magneto's mouth disappear, like, shut up, Dad. Like, you don't talk anymore. Like
that little kid. Yeah. I forgot what that was.
The idea of that, and then her saying no more mutants, like it's so human. It's what Marvel does best, and I think that's kind of why this story maybe I don't see it getting much love compared to other Marvel events. Like everybody's like fucking Civil War. Like it's like Civil War's good, but
I feel like Brian Michael Bendis, they captured like lightning in a bottle with this one.
You think it was accidental?
I don't think that they knew what they had in their hands when, Wanda and Scarlet Witch had their own series, or when they did the kids. Because at the time, those stories were really convoluted. Like, even to this day, they're kind of fucking weird.
Well, that's the writer's fault.
Yeah. But I commend, was Joe Quesada the editor?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I commend Brian Michael Bendis, Quesada, anyone else involved at being able to look at all of these various puzzle pieces and saying, we can make this work, and we could do something really cool with Scarlet Witch that'll have lasting impacts into all of our comics going forward.
Make drugs legal, kids. Just make it legal.
Like when I think like foundational stories or comics that serves as like the foundation for other comics, I think House of M immediately comes to mind, and I always sing its praise. Like I said, everything from like the branding. The look and feel, the covers are epic. The story is great. Like A+ artists, like everything about it is when I think blockbuster comic book events, like this is it. Like Marvel is really good at blockbuster like comic events.
I mean, perhaps it's not as good as.
Oh, he's back! Yeah,
it's not as good as Watchmen.
Ashley, your favorite.
Perhaps you should really take a look at Watchmen, Badr.
Because you were so right.
I know I'm fucking right.
How dare I?
Hold on. Let me get my hair out my face.
All right. How about we get to wrapping up this first segment? But first, I want to go ahead and get everyone's final thoughts on House of M. Ashley, what do you rank the comic? And you got any closing remarks?
No, I mean, this is definitely an A. I think that this is really important. I've always kind of had a bad attitude with these event books. I think
I don't blame you. Because you worked in retail, on the retail side. Yeah. I mean, it's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, it was like, hey, don't get them to just sign up for this. Get them to sign up for all the tie-ins. And then people would show up and be like, why do I have 12 books when I only signed up for one thing?
Well, you signed up for this, so I figured you figured wrong. I'm broke.
You'd get through the whole thing. You'd get through the whole thing and like almost nothing changed, and it was just like this money grab.
It was just a money, exactly.
So I kind of had like a bad attitude, but reading this, I was like, this is good. This is good comic book writing. This is amazing comic book art. Yeah. This is just like, this is why I love comics, is like this, books like this. Oh, yeah. So I definitely give this book an A and recommend it.
Nice.
So do you forgive me for assigning an 8-issue homework assignment rather than the 6?
I do. I'm glad I got this homework assignment.
I was like, I thought, no, does it mean I have to stop at 6 and not see how this ends?
Yes.
Oh, what happens? I don't know.
Ed, what about you, man? What are you ranking House of M, and any closing remarks you want to share?
Solid A. It's very approachable. So even if you have like just a cursory like knowledge of these characters, you can pick it up and read it, and it's so well written, and all the characters are well written that you kind of see where everyone's coming from and their positions in this storyline. Art's great. It's good storytelling. Like I said, it checks all the boxes. Yeah, it's like you said, see, it's like when Marvel is good, this is what Marvel does best. So, and like I said, it's during that time too, because I was reading a lot in the 90s, and that's when the crossover heavies were with like changed pages in the middle of certain issues, and like you had the story actually continued in other, you know what I'm saying? So if you got one issue and then the next issue would be completely different because that in-between story took place in a whole different title. And it's like, oh, check out this issue 35. That's bullshit. Yeah. So this is a nice self-contained story. Like, so with long-lasting effects, it kind of...
Well said.
Kind of, opened up the next series, 4 or 5 big Marvel events. So,
to this day, WandaVision is pulling stuff directly from there.
And then, so we finally we made... Scarlet Witch, Wanda, a character that we care about, character that,
and she's alone.
Yeah.
She's the only one who can do what she does. And she's the only one with the problem she has.
And they made her like a big player and probably one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel universe. So it's great.
Well said.
Right. This book is good because it took a regular ass person. I mean, you essentially, God, man, there's a lot of heavy stuff regarding Wanda that if you look real hard, maybe if you like lift that rock up, like there's a lot of shit that maybe people pick up on that they don't necessarily realize. Like their miscarriage is an issue. Mm-hmm. Technically that's the comic book version of it happened to her. She's a widow essentially because Vision died. Like she's the son of daughter of Holocaust survivors, She's got a really fucked up life. And like, people are like, fucking Wanda, man. Like, what a bitch. Like, I can't believe she did. Jesus, give her a break. Yeah. Jesus Christ. She did, she's a fucking survivor. It's amazing that she's in the mental state that she is in. Then you give her the abilities at first when she's young, like, oh, I can change reality on a small level by like, I'll make a banana peel appear and somebody slips on it, right? To like now where she realizes
Ultron slips on banana.
Right. To like now where she realizes if she has the potential and the want and the desire, she can change the nature of reality itself around her. What kind of temptation is that, man?
Yeah.
How do you say no to that when someone says, here's your perfect world on a platter? You can have it if you want. It only costs you and your friends their lives.
Well, not only you can give everyone you love their ideal life. Like
right.
In this book.
Right. It does what Marvel does best. It takes real human ass issues, and something unfortunately you don't see much in the Marvel universe. You don't see it much.
Yeah, you said everything I want to say. Yeah, this is an A+ comic. I don't need any. I mean, what do you want me to say?
You're like, yeah,
art was cool.
Spider-Man's awesome.
No, 100%. I don't ever need a reason to reread House of M because I really, really respect it and like it that much. But having WandaVision be so good so far and pulling faithfully and accurately and with a lot of respect, I feel like they're giving a lot of respect to the source material. Having this opportunity to reread it in this context with WandaVision out only makes me enjoy it so much more. So I definitely recommend it. I give it an A+ as well. I want to go ahead and turn to our listeners as we close out this segment. It's your turn to join the convo, man. If you've read House of M or you got some words or insight to share, write them down in a short email. Shoot that over to our inbox, theshortbacksjacks@gmail.com. If you're interested in more House of M comics, might I recommend the House of M Decimation, the day after one shot. It takes place right after the main House of M story. And the thing actually I'll champion is Son of M. So it deals with Wanda's brother Quicksilver dealing with the fallout of this event as well as the loss of his powers.
And also Watchmen, 1980s Watchmen. Also.
Absolutely, Alan Moore. How could we forget?
You better not forget.
With that said, how about we go on Music Blake? Music Blake.
Music Blake?
Oh, start over. Just start from start. Re-record.
I'm going to leave that one. I'm going to leave that. Music Blake. Yeah, we're going to go on Music Blake.
Boulder's drunk.
We'll play another instrumental from KLA/Alan Fresh off the Shortbox mixtape. Enjoy the music. When we get back, we'll talk about some new comics and give you some recommendations to try out. So stay tuned.
Basically, like, what if Bewitched was they were actual like satanic witches?
What comic is this?
This is a Bernie Wrightson comic he did for National Lampoons.
Sounds awesome.
It's fucking metal as shit, and I'll bring it in because it's fucking sweet. It's so violent and graphic. And I was like, oh. Even for Bernie, like
Yeah.
I was like,
the
Jesus
70s?
Christ, 82.
82. Okay.
Yeah, like you see, he's drawn like these fucking ladies, these middle-aged ladies, like going down on a fucking demon, like, and he's like, "Brah," like that, and I was like,
What's your
I was like, this makes me feel weird.
Nothing.
Yeah, like I think there's a famous Bernie Wrightson picture where like it's like a 3/4 side of guy's face, like, and he's like, "What happened to you?" And there's this lady, she's like, "Ah," and she's like blood coming from her eye sockets. That's from that comic.
Oh, okay.
It's crazy. Ugh. But if you want to look at it ahead of time, I just type in Bernie Wrightson Bewitched and prepare yourself.
It sounds like a relaxing Sunday read.
It messed me up.
Yo, listeners, we are back. Once again, that was music by our boy KLA off the Shortbox mixtape. That track was called Adult Swim Bump 1. We're going to jump right into our newest segment, No Comic Shop for Old Men.
No comic shop for old men.
This is the segment where we highlight some of the best new comics we've read this week, as well as recommend some new titles you should consider adding to your pull list. I think at this point, it's tradition for all of us to yell the name of our comic books in unison.
Count us off, Badr.
Okay, hit it. All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Crimson Flower. Oh, do we have the same one?
Oh my God, Ed, Jinx!
Oh, you guys are out. Both of you suck. Both of you guys suck.
Oh.
You're
I'm
done.
out.
You're down. Both of you out. It's between me and Ashley now, you son of a bitch.
I swear to I hate these.
These are the
fucking
new rules.
Ever changing.
Badr, these are the rules you made ahead of time.
No,
You
I
made
did
those
not.
rules.
I did
Hold on.
not say.
What is
Hello,
it,
it is
Calvin
me.
Ball?
It
Let's
is
just
me,
make up the
Badr.
rules.
I made these rules up earlier on the show. See, look, I
Undeniable.
recorded you. It's evidence.
It's like Calvin Ball. You just make up the rules.
That's
as you go
right.
along.
Right.
Okay. Well, how about this? See, kick us off. What's the new comic book you're highlighting?
I read an indie title called Immortal Hulk.
Oh. We appreciate you supporting.
Look, man,
need
Marvel
your
is
dollars.
struggling.
Artists.
You know,
Yeah.
they're not getting any, love or support. You know,
Disney cut off their allowance.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, no, I caught up with Immortal Hulk.
What's the latest issue?
43.
God damn,
Is
I'm
that
so
the
behind.
Bosch one with the Hieronymus Bosch cover, or is that later?
You're gonna have to be specific.
Oh,
There's a lot of fucking
the hollowed
Bosch
out
shit.
body, like the Garden of Earthly Delights. The Alex Ross.
They're all Alex Ross.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, and they're all fucking
Okay.
creepy like
All right.
Bosch's work.
No, this is actually a Bosch painting, like an actual painting with the.
Let me see.
It's like the one with like the hollowed out torso.
What do you guys
and
think
the-
about hiring an intern to pull up like these comic images while we talk? I think that'd be kind of cool.
Could somebody pull that up? Don't worry, all is
Oh,
going.
God damn! I thought I kicked him out the fucking house. So tell us real quick. I guess where is Immortal Hulk at now?
Oh, dude, it's getting
I
crazy.
feel like it's a
man.
loaded question to consider.
Yeah,
that serious.
I mean, right now it's like the leader is in a green hell, and that the one below all is trying to possess. Now he's actually trying to possess people. So it's fucking crazy. And I'm not trying to spoil anything. That might be kind of a spoiler, but it is essentially one of the craziest. Yes, right, with the egg popping out. Right.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's woo. Yeah, it's not for it ain't for the faint of heart. It ain't for the faint of heart. And
So nothing's changed.
Yeah, and there's been a bit of controversy regarding that book, but in my opinion, it's kind of a non-controversy. So, and that's just that's just me. That's just me.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Ed, I guess maybe me and you can team up on this. We can tango. Would you like to tango?
Ew.
You first.
So the comic book I finally got around to reading is Crimson Flower by Matt Kent.
And you read this too?
Good time. Like I woke up this morning like, okay, I mean, this has been on my back.
That's crazy.
I just got around to because it came out like end of December, right? Around end of December.
It came out January 20th.
Oh, January. Okay.
So it was definitely this year.
Hold on. There's only one way to settle this. Rock, paper, scissors.
No, we were like A-okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
being losers? No. No.
So wait, all right.
So January 20th. Okay.
So it's written by Matt Kent and then art by Matt. You want to say the last name?
Nope.
I cannot say it.
I want to.
I'll give it a shot. It's fine. It's Matt Lisniewski. Matt Lisniewski.
Yeah,
something like that. Matt Lisniewski. Okay. I'm sorry if I butchered the name.
Ashley sneezed. She's allergic to grammar.
It's a bullshit.
That she fucked up.
About Linus. Hold on. Jesus. Lesniewski?
There's none of that. I apologize if we are saying it incorrect. We'll try to do better when we actually get
the S shouldn't go there, you would think. I don't know.
So
it's very Polish.
So the overall premise of this is there is this woman that loses her family in a violent home invasion. She uses Russian folk tales to cope. She's trying to track down her family's killer, and this leads to her discovering like this government plot to weaponize like folk tales to raise like super assassins. So am I on the ball?
Yeah, that's weird.
It's weird.
This is weird, man. I don't like that Badr is like reading all these Dark Horse books, and I'm like, Marvel's awesome.
This is like Robert Crumb doing like essentially like a revenge story.
Oh my God.
Look on the inside.
Ed,
Don't just look at the
I
cover.
swear to God, I was trying to write down names of artists that I could kind of compare Matt's work to. And well, I guess they're both named Matt, so I guess I have to use the last name, Lesniewski. So, man, his artwork reminds me of
so weird.
I described it today to someone, to Austin actually. It felt like I was reading Dr. Seuss meets heavy metal. Like I know that is probably a poor description.
No,
but
you said heavy metal.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, then
R. Crumb for sure. A little Richard Corbin in there too.
So
sure.
Ed, why did you?
Very grotesque.
What made you pick it up?
The artwork.
Same here.
It's like this is so weird.
Yeah.
The cover.
Nice Badr. What a tryhard you are.
I'm going to like just my criticism though is like Dark Horse went a little cheap on the cover because the cover is a little like flimsy, like it's like the regular pages, but it's like come on, man.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's like it was just so bizarre looking. I was like, I got to get this, you know.
and the things that he decides to accentuate, like the old when she runs into
Giant
the assassin,
hands. Yeah.
or the veins,
like
the veins. Ways he draws veins are like
it's so
gives you the heebie-jeebies.
Give me the willies.
Yeah.
It's so like grotesque looking, but it's like interesting. She's trying to get a list of people that she thinks killed her father when she was a kid. So like this issue deals with her confronting somebody and ending up killing him in his own like apartment. But there's like these folktale like kind of cutaways that tie into the story, and I'm not. That's like I think that's what's going on, weaponizing fairy tales, but I'm not. Well, I think 100% sure.
Well, I think she suffers from schizophrenia or something because she's seeing like things, and it's. I think it's things that she's read.
She's driving, and she'll see like kind of like a superhero version of herself flying alongside.
Yeah, it's pretty trippy, man. And it the art is. I think they got the perfect artist for this. I don't know if you've ever read his other body of work. It's called The Freak. I got to shout out our man Wade Austin Ellis because he's the one. He had asked me last time I went to Heroes Con back when the world was open. He had asked me, "Hey, can you go to his table, Matt Lisniewski's table, and get a copy of The Freak?" So I had it on me for like a whole weekend. And dude, if you think this is trippy, man, that was fucking rad. I mean, it's rad stuff, but it's definitely art that I've maybe never really took in like that. So for me, it's just mind blowing. I mean, I'm sure Ed, this isn't too much of a shock to you, but for me, like this is awesome.
This is definitely
just for that
much
factor.
different from what I would think you would pick. So
really, I picked this up not only because the artist, but also I've been kind of I go into the shop and I'm looking for like new number ones from like Boom and Image and Dark Horse. This one just happened to have an artist that I was familiar with, so it was a good first issue pickup, you know. So I'm looking forward. Issue 2 comes out February 24th for anyone interested.
Nice.
That sounds great, Badr. Ladies last. Ashley, what do you got?
I have no future state this week.
Oh.
I have a new...
Also, yeah, I read it, by the way.
Oh, the
Which one?
Catwoman?
Yes, Ashley turned me on to the Catwoman story, which I read is fucking amazing.
So good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were like, wait till you see that motorcycle. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what does she mean by, oh my God? It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
What comic you got this week, Ashley?
Okay, so it's IDW. It just came out Wednesday. It's called Chained to the Grave.
Holy shit. Say it right.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, you're right.
Chained to the Grave.
There we go. You don't have to cater to me, Ashley. I didn't think you would do
put
it.
the metal claw.
She
You kind of like forced her.
She did a fucking Dr. Doom, like, to the grave.
This book was so good. Like, I'm so excited about this book. It's an artist that I've never heard of, Kate Sharon. So it's pretty much this guy wakes up and he's been like brought back to life by his wife, who's very happy to see him.
Oh, shit.
And he realizes why he's been killed, and he's like, we got to get out of town. So the colors in this book are like these weird, did you guys ever read Rumble?
Yes.
Yep.
It reminds me of Rumble with the art style and like the real kind of like acid trippy, like turquoise.
It's like
Oh, shit.
flat, bright colors.
Pinks,
Yeah.
yellows.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
A lot of the people talk like Yosemite Sam.
Rooting us, tooting us, cowboy shooting us.
Yeah, it sort of has like
That's cool.
yeah, it has like all the entertainment value of like watching a cartoon, but in a comic book. It's really, really good.
Damn.
That's cool.
I like those colors. They really pop
Yeah,
out.
everything about this book, even like the dialogue's like really fun to read. So yeah, I mean, it's been a really long time since I've been like, oh my God, you got to get this book.
Man, that's the best sell, you know? Like with someone who's been reading comics for a while, it's like, you know, it's been a long time since I gave a fuck. And this book is good.
Yeah,
Relatable.
I was very surprised at how much I liked. I mean, the future state. I'm not saying the future state stuff isn't
It's a
good.
different
Yeah, no,
thing.
But it's
different kind of
different. It's a
different
scratches a
animal.
different
Yeah.
itch. Yeah, for sure.
When this indie stuff comes out and it's this good and this well drawn, it's it's something to
It
pick
has
up.
like
And it
kind of
just
like
came
a
out.
Darwin Cookish kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some of
this
the
artist
layouts
and
and stuff.
I don't know anything else that she's done, but it is just amazing.
Yeah, I love these colors.
Andy Eschenbach and Brian Level.
And he's an artist too. And I think that always helps when like you're writing a comic,
Yep.
you know.
You got someone who thinks visually like that
Yeah.
too. They're in that headspace as well. Damn, that looks sweet.
So I think it's safe to say that Ashley won this round of
Ashley won for
Comic
sure
Shop
because my
Film.
fucking dumb ass was like mainstream.
And I guess in that regard, me and Ed with the combo number 2.
That's not how that works. It's
We
not how
are
that
better
works.
than you.
That's not how that
Number 3,
works.
boy.
I mean, okay, all right. Just this once.
Take that, voice boy.
Just, just this once, you're almost better than me.
Okay, we'll take it. And before we close out this segment of the show, because we love looking out for our listeners and making sure that you
Right.
guys
Oh, yeah, this is important.
are up on the latest and greatest, reached out to Ben over at Gotham City Limit. I said, hey man, what are 3 hot comics that you think people should get on their pull list before when's the FOC? February 22nd. So that's the final order cutoff for these 3 comics that Ben over at Gotham City Limit is saying you should add to your pull or ensure that you pre-order because he thinks that these will probably sell out or go for big bucks. The first one he's got on his list is TMNT number 115. There's a Kevin Eastman variant that he's saying is going to be hot. The Amazing Spider-Man number 55 with that Patrick Gleason iconic cover that everyone has been absolutely hyping up and talking all about. Well, it's going to 3rd printing, and they're doing it in blue this time. So at this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a 4th and 5th. So if you're looking to get,
It's crazy that a high number issue like that gets that many printings.
yeah,
that's
I went to the
crazy.
comic shop with Drew last week, and he's been reading this current Spider-Man run, and he was like,
Exhausting.
he was like, you know what pisses me off? I was like, what? He was like,
Everything.
no one's talking about the fucking story. They're just talking about the goddamn cover. These people ain't
It's the
reading.
90s again,
I was
man.
like, yeah,
I
man.
can see that. It's been that 90s
For
with
sure.
all the
Dude, the
variants,
speculator
all
market is crazy to
Yeah.
me. And the last book that he recommends is Children of the Atom number 1. So this is the new X-Men series coming out that focuses on another younger generation of X-Men. They've got different types of powers, a whole different look. So he's saying get that on your pull list before the FOC on February 22nd. So once again, that's TMNT number 115, Amazing Spider-Man number 55, third printing, and then Children of the Atom number 1. Once again,
Another like Generation X.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
For the 2020s.
So shout outs to Ben. Thanks for that FOC. Another good round of No Comic Shop for Old Men, which leads us into our last segment of the show, our champion season. For those of you tuning in for the first time, Champion Season, it's the last segment of the show, but it gives us the opportunity to go around the table and highlight a few things within pop culture, both new and old, that we feel, it's really resonated with us this week, and we want more people to check it out. Ashley, if you'll do us the honors of going first, what are you going to champion today?
So I've got this Monstrous collection. It's a collection of stuff by Steve Niles and Bernie Wrightson. And found out there was a real cool library edition that I don't have. I've just got the lame old...
That is
regular
not
soft cover.
First off, it's Bernie. It's in your hands. There's nothing wrong with that. I am not going to hate on it.
Oh.
I will merely.
I got the deluxe edition.
Merely say in passing that I spent a lot of money and I didn't know there was a soft cover version. Honestly, and if I'm being fully honest, like full disclosure, I thought it was a soft cover, and I'm like, why the fuck is this cost like $50? And I was dumb and I didn't click anything on the Amazon. So when it came, I was like, oh shit. And Sarah goes, hey, that's a really nice looking book. And I was like, yeah, it is a nice looking book.
I got on sale.
Yeah, no. No, I never tell her how much those fucking library editions cost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I just have the $24.99 version.
That's still a lot of money.
So there's 3 stories in it, and then there's like a Bernie Wrightson art gallery. And really, though, once you get to that Bernie Wrightson art gallery, you're going to wish you spent the more money to get the bigger version.
Well, so those are all black and white, right?
Yeah, it's all black and white. So it's all just like his ink work.
Do you prefer black and white comics? Like, it depends on the artist, I guess. But like somebody like Bernie, would you prefer his black and whites to the color stuff?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because Bernie is so heavy on the inks that I feel like the colors are just so unnecessary. They almost like take away from it.
Nailed it.
The detail.
And I don't know how many other artists I'd be able to say that about.
Right. Unless he's doing the colors himself.
Yeah, the only one that I can think of, to me anyway, is like Art Adams, seeing his black and whites compared to the colored versions.
Right.
I think that takes a lot of the detail that he puts into. Yeah.
Good stuff. You got anything else to champion, Ashley?
That's it. I'm looking for a new show. If anyone has any ideas,
maybe my champion.
I watched a few things that aren't
Here we go.
sticking, so
Nice segue.
Okay, that's a nice segue. I just watched. It just dropped. Sci-Fi is doing a comic adaptation of the Resident Alien.
Fuck yes, dude. It's out already?
The first episode's on YouTube,
Hell yes.
so you can watch the first episode.
Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk
Oh, I like
is
him.
the alien, and he is so awkward and weird and perfect for this role. As I haven't read the comic, but I read a synopsis just to kind of compare the two, and it's a lot different. There's some similarities, but the alien looks like your kind of traditional
Like a gray.
man,
Yeah.
but he's got these trappings of that this island Earth, what are they called? The lunar, the metalunas.
Yep.
So he kind of has those trappings of that aesthetic. So,
This
like I said,
island Earth.
so they kind of have similar color schemes and things, but basically it's like Northern Exposure, if you remember that show.
Oh, yeah.
But with a crash-landed alien. It's a lot of tropes that just talking about it may say, okay, we've heard about this before. A crash-landed alien stuck on Earth.
Well, it's
pretending-
kind of like John Jones in DC Comics, right? Like the fish out of water
yeah,
story.
it's the John Jones, except in the show he kills the guy and just takes over his life.
Right.
They get in a fight, and he's basically... He was there to like detonate this device for total extinction of Earth, basically just wipe out the planet. But the ship crash lands up in the mountains in Colorado, in a small mining town with like old timey Americana, like it's like Northern Exposure, like if you've seen Slither, like that town in Slither. Very funny. He's so awkward and weird and trying to be human because he's been isolated in this cabin. The in-town doctor, which is only one doctor, and all the roads are closed because of the weather, they find him saying, he lives up there, he's a doctor, and he's just retired there.
Right.
Or stays here. And then it's like, we need you to come investigate this body because there's no other coroners or anyone available. So this is his first time interacting with humans. So it's comedy of errors ensues, and the cinematography is great. If you like that, just that beautiful mountain landscapes, beautiful looking show, and it's just super funny. Like I said, it makes me want to read the comic, even though it's completely different premise. But yeah, it's a fun show. You should check it out.
Alan Tudyk's one of those guys that I like seeing him in stuff too.
Yeah.
And he's very versatile. Like he's the voice of Superman in one DC cartoon I watched. Like I'm like, Alan Tudyk? Damn, he fucking nailed Soups. Like because all I see is, either Wash from Firefly or Steve the Pirate in Dodgeball or fucking Tucker and Dale versus Evil, like you see him everywhere and you're like, damn man, somebody needs to give this dude a fucking mainstream break.
He's going to be those like character actors,
He's a working man. Yeah.
But he's perfect.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him.
You would think he's like an actual alien, just how awkward his tics and all the physical stuff he does. It's fun. Yeah, just definitely check it out.
Cool stuff. What do you got to champion, C?
So Ed had a really good champion, and I'm just going to champion
Immortal Hulk?
Another show, actually. This is a YouTube show from an animator that I follow, and his name is Meat Canyon. It's exactly as gross as you think he is. He does a lot of like little 1 to 2 minute cartoons that are fucking awesome, and they're really disturbing. But he started a Kickstarter recently for a show he created called Monster Lab, and his show is basically like a little sitcom where like these two little monsters that were created by a Victor Frankenstein type get given his notes and all his science, and then he dies. But he dies like, if you watch the intro, I'll show you guys afterwards. It's pretty funny. But the fact that Meat Canyon essentially started off as a guy who made like parody cartoons and then was like, I kind of want to do my own thing. And I know a bunch of animators that can help me now. Will you guys help me? And then Kickstarter went crazy, and now he's got the first episode out, and he's like, I want to do more. I hope he does more because he's fucking hilarious. He has like this weird mustache and a mullet, and this is the animator, and he's a really funny guy. Monster Lab by Meat Canyon. And if you know anything about Meat Canyon, follow him on YouTube. It's
are they
fucking
like
amazing.
Shorts? Or are they?
Yeah, they're really. Well, Monster Lab's like 15 minutes long.
Oh, okay.
But his other cartoons are usually no longer than 2 minutes. So they respect your time.
Yeah.
And they're disturbing. Okay. They will give you nightmares.
I'm just going to champion 2 comic books. The first one being, speaking about Future State, I'm going to champion DC Future State Swamp Thing #2. I'm gonna let you finish. But DC Future State Catwoman was the best Future State ever. That's pretty good. Did you read? Did you end up reading issue 2, Ashley?
I haven't read it yet.
Okay, yeah, it's really good. And the fact that I know that I don't have to collect anymore, I'm like, sweet, like I got the full story. But it was fantastic. Ram V is doing the writing, and Mike Perkins is doing the artwork.
Hell yeah!
It essentially addresses. And I won't spoil it because it just came out actually this week, so I won't give too much, but it does address where or how Swamp Thing had a hand in why the world is the way it is. And I love any time that they go to the panels where Swamp Thing breaking down how he went about creating like his family, his legion of
it's
other
funny you should mention Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
No, I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad you enjoy other Swamp Thing titles. Perhaps you could get into the original fucking title.
I'll get to it. All right,
the one that basically paved the way.
Yeah,
for
we
the
get it.
Shit you're into now.
But no, the DC Future State Swamp Thing is really cool to pick up. The fact it's only 2 issues, I think, is accessible to anyone. I think that. You can kind of gauge if you like what they did with this, then if you liked it, then it would behoove you to go visit, the Alan Moore Classic and some of the other big ones. So I'll champion that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then I'll also champion, speaking of House of M, I enjoyed it so much that I decided to go ahead and read Son of M, that Quicksilver one that I mentioned in the first segment. It's written by David Hine, penciled by Roy Allen Martinez. And once again, it just deals with the fallout from Quicksilver's perspective. He's lost his powers. He's a victim of the whole no mutants Scarlet Witch thing. He's crushed. He's defeated. He ends up calling up his He ends up calling up his baby mama and ex-wife Crystal. He's like, "Yo,
shit.
I need to. I just need some help." And,
Yo, girl, give me some of them Terrigen mist, son.
and she ends up taking him to the Inhumans refuge. Everyone's looking at him like, very questionable. You get to meet his daughter, and you don't really. You don't like Quicksilver at all in this. He's really grimy, really fucking sneaky, and it's really fun to kind of like watch his spiral into, him losing it. Yeah, exactly. So I recommend Son of M if you enjoyed House of M and you want to kind of continue the story. It's a really good Quicksilver story. So I will champion those two, which brings us to the end of our champion season, which also is the end of our show, ladies and gents. But before I let this pre-recorded outro close out and let you guys know what we're doing next, I'll look to my crew. Do you guys have anything to plug or closing remarks you'd like to share with the listeners this week? Ashley, I'll start out with you. Anything you want to close out with?
Ashley Laney Art on Instagram. And I just want to say, Alan Moore, it's been a pleasure.
I also enjoy Ashley's artwork. I thought it was very challenging. I mean, it's no Dave Gibbons. It's good, though. It's good.
Yeah. Ed, what about you, man? Closing remarks?
That's Edbot5000 on Instagram and most other social medias.
I like it. And C, closing remarks, anything you want to say?
No, I fucking suck.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting better. You're getting better, brother. You're getting better, brother. We got you, man.
I'm going to kill you.
And we're going to be doing our artist spotlight on fucking Brian Boland, who won the poll.
I don't know why, really, honestly. I can draw too.
Oh, he can.
And then pretty much next month, man.
Just ignored me.
Pretty much next month. I'm so over Alan Moore. Pretty much next month, we'll be covering comic books that tie into the Falcon Winter Soldier show coming out, as well as
this
Invincible.
wouldn't be a Marvel property, would it?
Oh, boy.
I just saw how much fun we were having talking Marvel this episode, and I figured...
Hold on, let me get something for you, buddy. Hold on.
Oh, good.
There's a little mouse dick out your mouth. There we go. Hold on.
There we go. So I'm going to let this pre-recorded outro fade in. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next week.
You got that
Peace.
slow neck, Badr.
Oh, no.
Yo, Shortbox Nation. You've now reached the end of the show. I know. I wish we had more for you, but that's all we got, man. But look, if you give us a week, I promise we'll have another episode. And if you feel inclined to keep the conversation going because you got something to say about House of M, or maybe you got a comic book recommendation that you feel we'd really like, man, send all of that our way. Shoot us an email, hit us up on social, or visit our website, shortboxjacks.com, and send us a message. Next time you hear from us, we'll be talking about Brian Boland. He's the well-respected British comic book artist that could probably make your favorite comic book artist put his pencil down. He's done comic books like Batman the Killing Joke, Judge Dredd, Camelot 3000, and more. He'll be the latest subject of our Artist Spotlight series. He joins amazing company because we recently done an episode on Fiona Staples. We've talked about Art Adams and Frank Frazetta all recently. So that episode will be out in 2 weeks, and we might drop a bonus episode before then. But you could check out the latest episode of our bonus podcast series, Pilot's License. It's a series where we talk about comic book themed animated shows and cartoons. We've done episodes on Spider-Man Unlimited, Batman the Animated Series, of course. We've done an episode on the Max, and most recently we just did an episode on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So if you're a fan of any of those shows, I promise you will enjoy that podcast series. It lives on our membership site on patreon.com/theshortbox. So yeah, go support the show and join our Patreon community, man. Get access to the good stuff, like the top-notch Shortbox stuff. Go check that out. And if you come back next week or not, man, thanks again for tuning in. Take care of yourselves. And of course, please continue to make mine and yours Shortbox.